Hello, this is Allie with the Perception Trainers, author of The Perception Diet, and today I want to talk about why connection doesn't actually come through being the same as everybody else, and why us thinking that that is how connection happens is causing a lot of pain for a lot of people in the world. Okay, so if you watched my Emotional Mastery series, you know that more or less, pretty much everyone in the world right now is living in a state of fear. Okay? And you understand that when we are stuck in a state of fear, that we are living from this perspective of fear, we have a specific psychology that works to shape our perspective and our perceptions in a way that is not necessarily in alignment with our greatest joy and our greatest expansion and our greatest capacity for love and freedom and happiness, because we know that the fear state is designed specifically to keep us the same, right? So just to give you a quick catch up if you are not completely familiar with these terms, when we are in a state of fear, essentially all we are saying is that we are in a state of lockdown. We are in a state of doing everything we possibly can to create an environment for ourselves that is fully and completely predictable. Because when we are in a state of fear, we are fearing for our survival. And this state of fear that we get into as human beings is, again, having its roots in this idea that nature is against us, that we need to do something to protect ourselves from death, that death is wrong, that we are not supposed to die, that harm is not supposed to befall us, and that it is our job to prevent all of these bad things from happening to ourselves. And the way that we have done that is to become very, very good pattern recognition seekers, right? We have survived in all kinds of conditions as human beings because of our capacity to predict the outcome of certain situations and therefore adjust our own behavior so that we could survive. That's how we survived. And so the stress response inside the body is a chemical and neurological cascade that happens when your body and your mind perceives that something that is happening shouldn't be happening. And biologically, because of your brainstem, the way it was built and when it was developed, that means to you something is happening that shouldn't be happening, and therefore my life is in danger. Okay? And even though we live in this technologically advanced society, we have all this, we are not in the food chain, we don't really live a life where our survival is threatened so much. We still have the same exact stress response that is activated through our perception of the reality as having gone wrong, and this ignites the survival instinct inside of you that simply wants to zero in on everything, make everything in your life the same, make everything predictable, make everything controllable so that you can survive. That's where that is coming from. So we see now that if we are to truly be living in a state of love, okay, that sameness, that predictability, that everything being exactly how it's always been, us being able to predict the environment, is no longer the thing. That's not how we find our enjoyment and our peace, right? To live in a state of love is to embrace the unknown, is to embrace the new, is to embrace everything that's coming at us, because we understand that it is growing us, that it is changing us, it is shifting us. It is allowing us to fully embody these beings that we know ourselves to be, okay? So again, another concept that I really want you to just consider inside yourself is this. When people tell you that you are already everything that you are going to ever be, they are right, okay? When someone says to you, you already have everything, you don't need anything from the outside to add to yourself, you don't need anything from the inside to be taken away, to become this person you know inside that you are. All right? That is true. But we must think of it like this. What they mean by that is that within you are all the seeds of potential for the person that you are here to become. All right? What is within you is the seeds of the potential. So a seed is not a tree yet. An oak seed is not an oak tree. It is an oak seed. It contains what is needed to become the oak tree, but is not yet activated. It has not yet grown. It is not matured into the tree. This is how we are as human beings. When we come into this world, we contain the seeds. They have not been activated yet. We have not fully become the person that we are already. All right? And then I want you to think now of the circumstances of your life as being the water that activates those seeds. The circumstances of your life are what stimulates the growth of those seeds of potential within you. And we were talking about this in the last video. This is why we say it is not a belief system to say that everything has a purpose. It is to say that when you fully, truly observe yourself, and you can observe everything from this place of saying, what if it all does have a purpose and it all does have a meaning? You will find that everything you've ever been through, everything you've ever experienced, every relationship you've ever had, anything like this, if you can see it through this perspective of being the water for a seed of something within you, you will see that good, bad, painful, not painful, joyful, it doesn't matter, all of it gave you more information about yourself and about the reality that allowed you or gave you the impetus to step into who you are deeper. All right? So, again, because we live in this state of fear, because we live in this state of shutdown and the state of lockdown, we have lost our ability to discern what it is we actually even want and therefore how to get it. So, what I'm saying is this. Those seeds of potential within you are there to grow and to express. This is truly what makes us feel amazing in life. Okay? The true root of joy is expression. The true root of joy is allowing for all the experiences in your life to be what they are and to see benefit from them, to see how it enabled you to learn something, to see how it enabled you to grow and expand. That's why they call it a state of love when we are in a state of expansion, right? We have labeled love to mean a very small little segment of life, and everything else outside of that is wrong and bad. But that's the perspective and that's the perception that's actually creating the fear state to begin with. It's not the actual circumstance. It's not what's actually going on. It's our perception of the circumstance and what's going on that's creating the fear, right? That's creating the lockdown. That's creating the shutdown. And so, again, what actually feels like bliss to you is you connecting with yourself and expanding deeper into who you truly are, letting those seeds grow, letting those seeds be activated by your life, and allowing the experience to expand you. And this idea of connection and feeling oneness and feeling connected with other people, this is actually a very mystical concept that we are misunderstanding on every level as human beings, because we're not mystical. We are lacking in the mystics who talk about it in this way, all right? So true connection with someone else, true connection where we feel like we are one with the tribe, when we feel like we are one with the universe, that is absolutely a primary deep human need. Okay? And we've talked about this for a long time, right? That like socially, we understand that we want to feel connected more than we want anything. In a lot of ways, we want to feel connected more than we want our own survival needs to be get met. There have been studies that have shown that there are people who are out there who could choose between like getting their survival needs met and getting their connection needs met, and they have chosen to meet their connection needs over their survival needs. And we're like, what the heck? That doesn't make any sense. But it does make perfect sense. Because the truth is, we are all tapping into a truth that understands that we are all connected, that we can't lose each other, that we can't lose survival, right? The fear of death is truly the fear of disconnection. It's this fear that we're going to be cut off from everyone and everything, and we're going to be aware of it, right? We're going to be alone in a dark place forever, and we're going to be acutely aware of our aloneness, acutely aware of how we didn't matter, acutely aware of how no one cared, and we made no impact, and we weren't a part of it. And that is truly where that fear comes from. And so what we need to understand is, again, this is what we're seeking when we seek connection with one another. And so when we seek connection through a state of fear, it's this mystical idea of this unity awareness, this unity consciousness that says, I am one with everything. There is no threat of being separated out. I can die, I can leave the body, and someone else can leave the body. We're all connected. There's nowhere else to go. It is all within the thing. It's all contained. That's what unity consciousness is. There's nothing outside of it, right? And that's a difficult concept for us to wrap our minds around, being in individual bodies where we have boundaries, right? But the truth is, in order to experience the truth of unity, there has to be a boundary for you to perceive it through, right? You're not going to understand connection if there's no discernment between you and someone else. So the only way that we can actually have an experience of connection is through our difference, is through our disconnection, is through this veil of this play, this hologram of separation. Because if you were to fully feel completely unified with everyone else, there would be no part of you that could perceive connection. The only reason we are able to have an experience of connection is because we perceive ourselves as separate. So when we look for connection through sameness, we are disregarding the entire mystical roots of what we are seeking, and therefore we never find what we're seeking, right? To go back to the consciousness that we are all connected, that is your natural state. You don't have to strive for that. And it is not through rejecting what is different from you, that's different from someone else, that creates a feeling of connection. That's not what's going to do it. That's what fear says, right? Fear is saying, we will feel secure when we can predict everyone and everything. I want everyone to be the same as me and me to be the same as everyone else, because that's safe. If everyone's the same as me and I'm the same as everyone else, it's all predictable and I won't die, right? There won't be some sort of attack that I didn't see coming because I couldn't predict them because they're different from me. That's fear. So when we're trying to socialize through the lens of let's all just find what's the same about each other and ignore all the things that are different because we don't want to acknowledge that there's difference, what we're saying is we don't want to acknowledge that there's difference because that difference is a threat to me. That difference is a threat to my survival because I can't predict you if you're different. And the only way that we're going to be connected is if we're all the same, because then we're all predictable and then no one's going to kill each other. That's what that says. And that's why we're never going to find true connection through sameness. And at the same time, okay, the other mystical aspect of this connection is truly the deeper you are connected in with yourself, the deeper you know yourself and are expressing yourself as the being you know yourself to be, the deeper you are on that path of allowing life to awaken those seeds, to grow into the individual fractal of God that you are, the more you are going to feel connected to all that is. The more you are rejecting yourself, the more you will feel disconnected. So you can wear all the clothes and have the right job and have the right relationship and have the right body size and be completely a part of the tribe and feel completely alone in the room of your clones, because no one is being themselves. No one is available for connection. Because again, we connect genuinely. That true feeling of connection is my soul meets your soul. This fractal of God recognizes that you are also a fractal of God, and we are connecting through our perceived differences. I am learning about consciousness itself. I am learning about myself as I learn about you. You being different from me is expanding consciousness as a whole, because I understand that I represent a fractal of God. You represent a fractal of God. We're not the same, because all that is has to be contained within all the different variations, right? That's what the variations are. No one is not God. Nothing is not God. Everything is a part of the unification, and we know it through the separateness. So again, think of it like this. We could not understand how the body works if there weren't cells that were different from other cells. If it was all an amalgamous blob, we'd have no idea why it works the way that it works. There would be no, without the boundaries, we couldn't understand it. So again, we need to see this paradox. Truth is always going to be the paradox. The more you are yourself, the deeper you will feel connected. And even if the entire world rejects you, through being yourself, you will still feel more connected being yourself than you ever will being who society wants you to be and rejecting yourself. And I can tell you that from personal experience. I don't have 100 million friends around me all the time, but I do not ever feel lonely. I never, ever feel lonely. I spend most of my days alone writing, and I never feel lonely. And that is not because I have this huge group of friends that I hang out with all the time. It's because I'm connected to myself. And when I was young, I felt lonely all the time. And I went to school and I went to dance and I was around people 24/7. But I wasn't being myself, and I felt alone all the time. And I couldn't be what society wanted me to be, and I rejected myself because of that. And because of that, I felt disconnected. So when you understand that, yeah, you're going to take the risk. You're going to take the risk to accept yourself as you are, and accept that some people are going to reject you because of that. That in their mind, they are going to cut you off as you are different from me. Just know the reason they're doing that is it's a survival mechanism. It's not even really them that's doing it, right? It's this false belief that separation occurred. When you understand that separation never occurred, being different is no longer a threat. Being different, being rejected, not having a physical relationship with somebody is no longer the threat to your connection. The deeper you understand yourself, the deeper you understand everything else. And that is the connection. Connection is a mystical understanding of the unity consciousness that is. It is transcending the belief system that separation occurred and we have to reject anything that's different in order to feel united. That's not how it works. You are going to feel most connected to the people you allow to be who they are. Don't make it a threat to you, and just learn about them. Because that's where consciousness expansion comes from. You fully being yourself, everyone else being themselves, and us sharing. Wow, you're a completely different fractal than me. That's part of the whole thing that I am a part of. You're not separate from me. You're in the same bubble. There's no boundary. I know I keep doing this, which means boundary, but I don't know how else to represent infinity. Right? Like, it's all one thing. So you being yourself, you fully realizing who you are, because it's all connected, means you fully realize the reality of reality. So the more you know yourself, the more you're going to become aware of the unity consciousness that exists. And therefore, you don't have to strive to feel connected. You will know it inside yourself through knowing yourself, through accepting yourself. This is the vehicle of awakening. So accept all of this, and you will realize your infinite connection to everything. Okay? So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please leave them down below. Like, subscribe, share, do all that fun stuff. Join Patreon, and I'll see you in the next video.